with a chance to close it out. Knicks in 6 in their series versus the Pacers. Like the Denver-Minnesota series, this has been a roller coaster as well with major swings. So here's Stephen A's take from Wednesday on the Knicks. If they've clinched
I think they clinched
series.
the series. Whether it's going to be in 6 or 7 games remains to be seen. And obviously anything can happen in Game 7. But I do believe they've clinched the series. The moment appeared too big for the Indiana Pacers last night at the Garden. Reggie Miller was not in the house to play for them last night. They didn't seem to be able to handle that pressure. And if you couldn't handle the pressure in Game 5, why in God's name should I believe you're going to handle it in a Game 7? So that's why I believe the New York Knicks have clinched this series, but that doesn't mean they'll win Game 6.
Stephen A. Suit had big energy that day, and so did his Knicks prior the night before. The mood was on point. You could see all the feels, Monica. Seriously, Monica, obviously you cover this team and watch them intimately. Most important player tonight in Game 6?
I'm just going to remain consistent, Molly, I say, and Legs. I'm going to say Jalen Brunson. I mean, He is the guy that consistently draws 2 defenders. He is the guy that the offense runs through. He has been the guy at the top of the scouting report for this Pacers team to try to figure out how to guard. And in spots, tip of the cap to Aaron Nesmith. But as I sort of anticipated, you give him a little bit more time, Jalen Brunson is going to rise to the occasion and figure it out. It is definitely going to be imperative that he gets productivity from the guys around him. But to me, he is undoubtedly, without question, the head of the snake and where this whole thing starts for the New York Knicks. And so I don't necessarily know that means he needs to have a 40-plus point performance. I got it somewhere in the 30s, probably being sufficient, assuming, like I said, he has the support of his team. But from that clip you brought up, Stephen A., in terms of the moment being too big for the Pacers, the thing that has stood out to me in this series is that the Knicks do not have to manufacture a new way to play in order to be successful. They have played hard, they have been on the glass, they have defended and been physical all year long, and so this series has just doubled down on who they've been and what has allowed them to be successful.
Well, if you're the New York Knicks, recall needs to be your biggest strength. And what I mean by that is recalling what transpired for you in Game 4, where you were down by over 40, where you were getting blown out of the state of Indiana, where Josh Hart, the Energizer Bunny, was sitting on the bench looking depressed because this brother, fresh off of 18 rebounds in a thrilling Game 3 loss, had 3 rebounds and was ineffective. Where Dante DiVincenzo the game before looked like the second coming of Steph Curry, looked like Steph Curry had rubbed off, and then when he dropped 35 and hit about 7 or 8 threes, suddenly couldn't buy a damn basket, and the Knicks got the brakes blown off of them, okay? If you're the New York Knicks, it's recalling that. It's understanding that, make shots, be tough, have that energy, don't get blown out, okay? Because anything can happen in a Game 7, even though I would pick the Knicks to win Game 7, even if they lost Game 6. I think the 2 most important players in tonight's game is going to be Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, because I have all the faith in the world in Jalen Brunson that he's going to do something right. If he's not making his shot, he's going to make opportunities for others to make shots. That's just the kind of player he's been throughout this season and especially in this series. So I'm certainly not going to go against Jalen Brunson in that regard. But what he has shown us is that on the road in Indiana, he hasn't been enough. Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart playing the way that they played in Game 3 is why the Knicks almost pulled that out. Nembhard's, Hail Mary from 31 feet saved the day for Indiana. I don't think that's going to happen in Game 6. If DiVincenzo and Hart show up and do what they've done for the most part this series, I think the Knicks win the night and they close out this series and they get to the conference finals.
All right, here we go. I picked the Knicks in 7, so I want the Pacers to win Game 6 because I want to be right, damn it. All right, I'm 9 for 9 on my series picks.
Are you?
If Denver,
Tim,
Dallas,
that is unreal.
Yes. if Denver, Dallas, and the Knicks win, I'll be 12 for 12, right? So this is as an analyst, that's how you want it to play out, damn it. I want to be right, but here's the thing. Listen, I got a Knicks fan I'm talking to, and I got somebody else that's a little bit invested in the outcome of this, in Monica McNutt. So let me give you a different perspective, okay? Let me give you a Pacers perspective, because I think there's a name to me that Game 6 hinges on. It's Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton has had 2 games in this series that you didn't notice he was on the court. Okay, this is a dude that had a meteoric rise during the season. And he's had games in this series when he was absolutely sensational. 1 game in the Garden, but 2 games in Indiana, he was absolutely electric. He has to show up in a big way, and if he does, 1, it's good for the Pacers because they need his offense. They need him to play that way. But 2, what that means is they've controlled the defensive glass. They've allowed the Knicks 1 shot, which means you can get outlet passes up the floor, and Haliburton can get out in the open court where he is pretty special. When he has to go in there and they got 5 guys in the paint trying to keep the Knicks off the glass and they can't get their hands on the ball, they're getting beat to every 50-50 ball, and then they're taking the ball out of the net, Tyrese Haliburton is negated. I also think he hasn't played as confidently in some games in this series. 2 games in the Garden, he just wasn't as confident in pulling the trigger on that jump shot. So for me, Game 6 is going to be about Tyrese Haliburton. If he shows up and looks like an all-star caliber player, like he does a lot of nights in this league, I think Indiana's got a great chance to win this game with the home crowd and all that, forcing a Game 7 in the Garden on Sunday, in which case I don't think Indiana has a chance to win that game on the road in the Garden with what that energy is going to look like.
I wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,